I no longer defend my freelance experience anymore. This is another video I wanted to upload to my 2026 career strategies playlist. And it's about why I don't defend my freelance experience anymore. So in the past, I used to see my experience as something I had to defend, because you've all had those calls when you've had recruiters or sometimes hiring managers, and they want to know the why behind, your career choices. And some interviews, I felt like I was being interrogated, right? Like you're on a stand, and then, I'm a court TV junkie. Wanted to be a lawyer at one time, fashion designer, all that kind of mixed together. But anyway, and it just felt like I was being interrogated, right? So like if you think about a trial, like you're on a stand and you're kind of defending what your position or your why. And that's how a lot of interviews used to feel when I would say mid-level in my career. And I would get off of the phone sometime and it's like, why am I defending this? Instead of looking at it as, this is my experience, I'm going to own it, I'm going to niche down, separate myself apart, and then look at it as in the future, it's something that in the future I can turn around and offer, consulting or be hired as a consultant, right? Because in order to which I tell you guys that in order to transition into consulting and to get those higher rates, you have to hone in on your expertise. It's not enough to say, I've been freelancing for 5 or 10 years all over the place, right? This is when you want to hone in and make it specific, and then just hone in on your craft and be more niche. And that way you can charge extra rates, especially if you're a 1099. Like I talked about in my videos before, I do both. I'm 1099 and I'm also W-2. And I think I made a video about it. If not, it's coming. But it's on the list. But either way, the point is that I stopped defending it and I started to position it, because the reality is that freelance is not something that you defend. It's something that you position. Right? So think about a queen. It's a position. You don't explain, you're not explaining why you're a queen. You're not explaining why you do the things that you do. You know your position, and position is quiet, right? You're not yelling. You're not you're not the loudest person in the room. The loudest person in the room usually is the person that has the most insecurity. So it's like you're quiet, right? So it's quiet confidence. And that's how I see freelance. So I took my experience from working across multiple industries. You guys also know my background is in healthcare. There's a video on that too. Healthcare ad agencies, and I went over to the client side just to kind of get my life back. I have a video coming about that. It's going to be part of the series, but the reality is when you're coming to the table and you're working with a lot of enterprise companies, whether it's healthcare, pharma, or like big banks, that's an expertise, right? Because everyone doesn't have that experience, or sometimes they have those roles that it's like a kind of like an ad hoc, right? They have ad hoc projects, or they're bringing you into, like, they have a campaign that they want to launch, and they want someone to come in with this campaign experience. My background is like this omni-channel experience, and now with influencer marketing so big, they want it. They want that as a part of the campaign, and a lot of times the influencer part of the campaign is pushing more than the digital part, or sometimes it's even, right? Like you're updating the landing page, you're making sure that the website is refreshed, you know what to do, you're working with the web teams and all that stuff. For the coding, you know what's supposed to happen, or what part of the life cycle that project is on. And this applies to whatever industry you're in. So like I said, so coming from, healthcare, advertising, and brand, I also worked at different marketing companies, agencies. So my experience is basically a lot of full-time roles mixed with freelance. So I just started to position it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of having interviews that's feeling like I'm defending my experience as opposed to positioning it. And that's why I said a queen is a position, right? Like you don't have to explain that you're a queen, like you know it. Same thing with a king. He knows he's a king. If he got to explain too much, talking too much, first of all, kings are quiet, right? The quiet confidence we're talking about. So you're not, venting about, they're not paying you enough, this and this and that. You can feel that, and it's okay to feel that. But again, when you are positioned for it, it's like water seeks its own level. You know what I mean? Like it's going to rise. Like those, even if they try to lowball you, those lowball rates are not going to stick. It's like Velcro. It's not going to stick. The rates that are for you are going to stick. The ones that's not for you are going to just fall to the wayside. So that's how you have to see it. So once I got that, and it's a mindset shift as well, because, coming out of COVID, it was kind of a little bit more nuanced in the sense of like a lot of people were online and they knew like it was so many layoffs that companies kind of expected to hear you kind of freelance. But you still had those certain recruiters that would, treat you like you're on the defense side, the prosecution side, and then you playing the defendant and just explaining your why or your career positions. Like when it's like, no, it's an expertise, it's a position. You decided to hone in on your craft, or maybe, which I've done as well. You took a sabbatical, right? You took a year off. I know in COVID, my mom passed, my dog passed. So it's like, I wasn't putting myself out there for interviews. My money was good. I got a severance from the company. I had, enough savings. I had enough padding. And then I also had the unemployment. So like I was in a good place. So I was in a good place to where like I was able to take a year off. So when I came back, I took a year off, but I only entertained roles because I still wanted to kind of stay more like in the fashion, just because I, went and paid and kind of like got my certificate. So I wanted to push forth more my e-commerce and my launch experience. Of course, I have e-commerce experience normally, but I mean like for me to, 1099 it more and then more like offer the consultant. I wanted to do that more. And especially with my background with, launching the online boutiques. That's another video. But, like getting products in online and then they look like crap. When you speak to the wholesaler, they ship it and it's like, these samples look bad. I'm not putting my name to that one. No, thank you. And then like not returning. Well, you're not returning because you're kind of just getting a one sample, but either way you're paying for it. So it's like, it's a wash. If you're not 1099 or like have your own company yet, you're not writing that stuff off. I'm still charging that to under my W-2 full-time income. But that's here nor there. The point of the matter is that I started to look at it as more like a position. So I just talked about my retail experience, my working on the client side experience, my brand experience, digital experience, my e-commerce experience, right? Because all digital experience doesn't mean e-commerce, right? So that's another thing. Putting up, because I had an ignorant person in the past ask me like, what takes so long to put dresses on the website? And it's like, ma'am, you don't even understand the whole layer to what it entails to have a brand, sell a product. Does the product look good? Like it's a lot going on. So that also went back into me talking about, even with people, sometimes you're trying to defend your why, or like you're trying to defend your business plan. And it's like, why am I defending my business plan to you? My vision came from God. And I'm an executor, right? Everyone doesn't have to understand what you're doing. Everyone doesn't have to understand your why. So that's why I want you to look at it more so as for those of you that are freelancing and those of you that want to come to get into freelancing or find out how to. I'm also putting together like a freebie soon just to give you like some pointers. But to look at it more as honing in on your expertise and look at it more as a future expertise in the sense of in the future, maybe 5 years from now or 3 years from now, depending on where you're at as far as your experience, that you can one day turn around and then offer consulting. And now with, like I talked about in the other video, with all of the AI stuff going on, I did myself as well, take like the AI boot camp. So just knowing enough about it to talk about it. Of course, I use it already, but using AI for your business is different than just like, oh yeah, I know AI. Like, no, like we're talking about how to monetize, how to make it professional, how to, where you can have your rates that they're comparable. Not just you know how to mess around in Chat GPT, or put your resume in Chat GPT and they spit it out. Put your cover letter in there, they spit it out. That's one part of the thing. Second part is that you have to land the interview, and then you have to position yourself to get the role, right? Like everyone's using Chat GPT now for their resumes. Everyone's using it now for their cover letter. So what is still setting you apart? Meaning that the interview is still like your experience. So you have to have your technical skills, right? That's more like your hard skills. And then you have to also have those soft skills. And the soft skills is more about how do you work in the teams? How are you building culture? Even as a freelancer, you know how to build culture, how to make your experience last, and how to still feel like you're an added asset to the team. And again, because freelance is a position, like a queen, you're not defending it. Since it's a position, you already know what you bring to the table, and you already know that you are an asset to the team. So it's like when those budget cuts are happening, they're like, cut this one, cut this one, cut that one. Oh no, we got to keep her. Even if we let her go with the mask, but then we bring her back as a consultant because you know we're loving it. We're loving how she operates. So just things like that for you guys to think about. And again, so I just wanted to make a video about why I stopped defending my freelance experience. Look at it as take all the experience that you have, how to monetize it, how to, in the future, offer coaching, how to train people. Now the big AI stuff is going on. So making sure that you guys are like taking your boot camps, and not only just taking an AI boot camp, finding out what your field is. If you're in marketing, how are you using AI to make yourself work more efficient? Because like everything, it's a tool, right? So a tool, and money is a tool. So tools can be used for good or evil. So when you see something as a tool, the good of the tool is, okay, how can I make this better? You come in, you're hired for your expertise, but part of your expertise is also how are you making teams more efficient? So that's where your value comes in at, depending on your role. And again, look at your resume, look at your experience. What do you need to hone in on? What looks like it can make future money, as opposed to like what are the things that can fall to the wayside? And when I say fall to the wayside, I mean more so like what jobs now are they handing off to virtual assistants, which is fine. A lot of businesses, entrepreneurs, they need VAs, right? In the old terms, it was called admins. Companies still have executive assistants, but that's still different because executive assistants, they're more like along the high six figures, at least 90 or 110, depending on the company. If it's a financial company, I held those roles as well, but there was a headache, so I had to pivot. But that's why my freelance experience is so valuable, because it's a chance for you also to remember that not only is a company interviewing you, you're interviewing a company, right? So everything looks good on paper. The role looks good on paper. You look good on paper. But both of you guys have to make sure that you really produce, and that you're really an asset to the company. That company is also an asset to you. True assets is like a marriage where we need each other, and each other means that we're better together, right? So that's how you have to look at it. But anyway, again, this is another video for my career strategies for 2026. I have, I think, 2 more videos coming. The next one, I think I'm going to talk about some toxic stuff that I had to leave. It's more of like a story time-ish, but that's going to be in here as well. How I pivoted from the toxicity more to the client side and got my life back. Yeah. But anyway, have a good day. Bye.